The NCAA recently announced that they will pass a law that allows college athletes to profit from their name, image, and likeliness, which will go into effect in 2023. This law appeals to a lot of people, but many see it as a mistake and think it could potentially ruin college sports. These college athletes put their bodies out on the line, day in and day out, not only for themselves, but for their team, and so us fans can simply be entertained. The NCAA is an $11 billion industry that generates revenue that ultimately gets flown back to the university. Just think about the $11 billion. What do these athletes get in return? The answer is little to nothing. The athletes are advertised and shown off by their university and used for the stream of revenue that they create. Although this topic is quite controversial, it is my strongest opinion that college student athletes should be paid, due to the fact that the NCAA and universities make money off merchandise while the players get virtually nothing. It will keep them financially stable throughout college, and it will set them up to be well equipped for the future well after their playing days. Let's start with the first point. College athletes today struggle to stay financially stable. One of the main points that the NCAA has always stood behind so that they don't have to pay their players is that many of them are on scholarships that cover most of the fees that regular attendee students would have to pay for. There are a lot more fees linked to being a student athlete than the school does not actually cover. The players that put in an average of 90 hours a week working out or focusing on their academics and schoolwork will most of the time find themselves hungry and needing a meal well after the school's dining hall hours are over. Not only that, but most college students can't even afford gas to go somewhere to get something to eat. Instead, these costs come straight out of their own bank account. Many of these athletes do not come from fortunate families and often have rough upbringings. And for a lot of these athletes, making it to the NFL or NBA is the only option that they see fit for themselves. Most of them cannot have their parents send them money whenever they want for food or gas because they don't have it either. According to the Orion, an independent news source at Chico State, some athletes are offered scholarships that cover the tuition and the school meal plans, but at smaller schools like Chico State, sometimes a scholarship is not enough to pay for college. Many students rely on financial aid, but a lot of them don't even qualify for that. If athletes are seeing their success displayed all over the country, you would think that they would receive benefits along the way. If there is one solid reason that college players should be compensated for, it's because the so-called nonprofit NCAA and the schools profit from the players' popularity and success from merchandise and jersey sales. In order to make sure that they don't have to pay for players, they keep the last name off the back of the jersey, but they know that the people are buying the numbered jerseys because of a specific player. Like, for example, at Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel. Not only is the school and NCAA allowed to take advantage of the success of its players, but the athletes are not allowed to sponsor or advertise themselves just to make some money to get something to eat or to fill up their car. NCAA stars at USC, Reggie Bush and OJ Mayo, got in a lot of trouble because they received benefits that were deemed improper by the NCAA. Reggie Bush had to forfeit his Heisman Trophy, and OJ Mayo didn't get in personal trouble, but for USC, they had heavy sanctions placed on them. According to news network CNBC, not only do high-profile players not make a dime off their jersey sales, they also can't sell the jerseys that they wear. 5 Ohio State players got suspended for 5 games for selling their memorabilia. Imagine walking down a street and you see a person walking with your jersey on, and you know you will never see the money that the person had spent on the jersey. Making billions off an athlete's success or likeliness while preventing them from even being provided a free meal is not only hypocritical, but it's also immoral. The NCAA doesn't consider the fact that most college athletes won't end up going pro. Paying the athletes would set them up better than if they just left with the degree. most college athletes do not end up playing at the next level. Usually they don't have the best luck, or they're not good enough, or injuries plague their career. College athletes give everything they have for little to no reward to show for it. So at the end of their tenure at the university, they're broke and they have a degree that they don't even know what to do with. Even if you're the star athlete of a team or an academic scholar, having just a degree isn't enough anymore to succeed in the real world. Also, most players end up picking or replace a degree in a random degree that they don't even have any interest in, but it's easy enough that they can focus on their sports life more. Well, don't get me wrong, a degree is still very important to have. It certainly can be underwhelming if you don't know what to do with it. Paying college athletes would give them a little bit of leeway and wiggle room to give them more time to get back on their feet and track of their new lifestyle of their choosing. According to verified media outlet SB Nation, what we're going to talk about is the NCAA's free pass on its claim that it's doing it a great service to all athletes just because those athletes get degrees. The reality? Simply getting a degree nowadays doesn't exactly cut it. The NCAA is an organization that needs to compensate for its players. To review, even though a lot of people out there don't support the decision to pay college athletes, I still firmly believe that this is going to be revolutionary for college sports and students and athletes due to the fact that athletes will start making money off their own merchandise. The NCAA sells that less college students will be broke all throughout college, and it will make sure that they are more prepared for the real world in case sports doesn't ultimately work out for them. Imagine you're giving your blood, sweat, and tears towards your 9-to-5 job, and at the end of the week, you go to pick up your check and your boss takes it for theirself. That's essentially what the NCAA is doing to its athletes. The NCAA needs to keep this law that's about to be put in place because us Americans put in our $11 billion to watch college athletes play their hearts out on the field, not to watch grown men argue in suits. Thank you.